Hi guys, welcome to the Bun Maker podcast. Today we're going to be talking about your best match, right? Not your perfect match, because honestly, I think it's extremely difficult to find your perfect match. So today we're going to talk about how do you find your best match, right? The first thing I want to say is, and this goes to women who are not in a relationship, who are out there seeking their best match, is, if you have a long list of traits and things that you're looking for in a guy, toss the list, right? And just focus on your deal breakers. What are your deal breakers? Deal breakers could be, something in their background, like a criminal history or red flags. Maybe they cheated in previous relationships. So write down those deal breakers. And that is the list that you want to refer to as you are out in the field, dating different guys and looking for your best match. Because that's going to help you really narrow down. And like I said, no one's perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect match. But your deal breakers will certainly help you find, your best match. Red flags such as, if you're talking to someone, and they're disrespectful, that is to me a big red flag there. Financial. What I would say about financial is, if you're thinking, my deal breaker is they got to make $1 million a year or they got to make 6 figures a year. I mean, that's great and that's on you, but there's a lot of hardworking men out there who may not be making that today, but has the potential to make that with a really strong women who is standing behind them and supporting them. And, if you are that strong woman who can stand behind a man and help him really, reach that next level of success that he's looking for, but he just needs a strong partner to do that, then go for it. So don't hinder yourself or block yourself from your best match because they're currently not making the financial or the income that you're looking for, but they may have the potential to do that. So that's what I would say is don't just use the financial thing as a deal breaker. The other thing is attraction. I know attraction is important. I'm currently in a long-term relationship, double digits, 11 years. With a great guy. And I was, certainly attracted to him when I met him, but I've been in other relationships where I wasn't attracted to the individual. But if you think about like shows like, marriage at first sight, for example, there's a lot of women who go onto that show and men who see that person for the first time. Because for those that don't know the show, it's where, these people sign up to be married at first sight. They never met the individual before. And the first time they meet is at the altar when they get ready to say their vows, right? So they're meeting for the first time at the altar. And so there's been several instances of couples who meet at the altar for the first time. They're not attracted to that other person, but as they spend time with that individual and get to know that person, they begin to fall in love. And so, instant physical attraction, I wouldn't, put that as a primary deal breaker, because you never know. And there's been a lot of long-term successful marriages that's come from not being physically attracted at first, but after getting to know the person and really building that connection, building that attraction, it turned into a really long-term successful relationship. So I would say, don't, put attraction as your top deal breaker, and be open and be flexible to the opportunities to meet, a really great guy. And if you are in a relationship, I would say, and if you're not as well, communication is key. I can tell you guys, like, you have to be so very specific with guys. Like, if you tell a guy, like, I need you to be more romantic, they don't know what that means. They have no idea what that means. If when you say, I want you to be more romantic, like, you have to like really give them like detailed instructions. For example, instead of saying, I want you to be more romantic, you can say, well, I would love to have a Friday date night next week. Or it would be great if I had some flowers on my birthday. Or, it would be nice to take a trip next month to, I don't know, a beach getaway. You have to be really specific on what you're looking for, because if you're just vague, guys just for some reason, they don't speak that language. You just have to be really specific with them. And then they'll, if they really love you and they're really wanting to make this work, whether it's a new relationship, belong to a relationship, they will make it happen for you. You just got to be a little bit more specific in your communication, what you're looking for. The other thing is, how do you meet guys, right? So if you are single and you're looking for the best match, how do you meet guys? My recommendation is online. I still believe in online. I'm an introvert. I'm a busy professional. I don't go to clubs. I don't really hang out a lot. And so when I was single, I got onto a dating site, and that's how I met my best match and who's the love of my life. But if you're single and you're looking for your best match, I am still a big believer in dating sites. Or, if you don't want to do a dating site, maybe do Eventbrite. Eventbrite is great too. Go out, attend networking events or other events that interest you to meet new people. And also social media. There's a lot of women who've met really great guys in their DMs, right? On the gram, Instagram, on TikTok. Putting yourself out there on social media is another great way to put yourself out there and really, finding your perfect match. Your best match. And, you put yourself out there on social media, they'll see you. And if they're interested, trust me, they will reach out and to want to get to know you better. So social media is a great way. Online dating sites is a great way. And just putting yourself out there, going to events, networking events, different types of events that interest you is another great way as well. And then, whether you're in a relationship or not, like, don't compare yourself to other women. Like, there are women like Kim Kardashian and some other famous women who has a lot of money, who a lot of men are attracted to, but they can't keep a guy. Like, they've been in different relationships. And I'm not saying it's their fault that they're not in those relationships, but I'm just saying that, even these sex symbols that are out here have difficulty finding their best match. And I truly believe there is someone out here for everybody. I've seen all sorts of women, diverse women, some women, no arms, no legs, can't see, can't hear, but are in really strong long-term relationships or even married. And I'm not saying they're less than you, but I'm just saying there are people or men out here for, everybody. I do believe that there is someone out here for everybody. You just have to put yourself out there, be willing to put yourself out there to meet your best match. The other thing is showing appreciation. So, if you're in a relationship, or you're married, it's important to show appreciation. For men, they really value being appreciated, especially when they do special things. It's okay to pick up the check sometimes and pay for a meal. It's okay to, book a surprise trip for you and him to take. It's okay to do things like that to show them that you appreciate them. And yeah, there are some men out there that's like, I don't want you spending any money. You better not spend any money on me. I'm always going to pick up this check. And that's great. So find other ways to show that you really appreciate and value them. I just think that is so important to men, in my experience. And, your home is your safe haven, right? Like, when you come home, that is your sanctuary. So, I think, as women, I think outside of, having children, finding your best match is like the next most important thing, because that person that you bring into your life is either going to make or break you. Right. And, when you come home to that person, you want to feel safe. You want to feel like that's your sanctuary. You don't want to have to come home to arguments and petty arguments and just, really stupid things. And if you are in a situation today, then you got to make a decision on, is this a person that I want to continue to my life with and move forward with? Or is this somebody that, I'm going to have to, we're going to have to separate and just kind of let go? I mean, we have one life to live. We have to make the most of that one life. We have to live every day like it's our last. And a lot of us, we struggle. We've struggled to get where we are. And some of us are still struggling. And the last thing you need is to bring somebody else in your life that is making you struggle even harder or is making your life even more difficult. So you have to make a decision if the person that you have in your life is the person that you want to keep in your life. And you got to put yourself first too. You got to think about yourself. A lot of times we think about other people. We think about how other people might feel. We suffer because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. But at the end of the day, it's important for you to put yourself first, and make sure that you're communicating too, right? Like the last thing people want to be is blindsided, especially if you've been in a relationship, you don't want to just up in one day and say, hey, I'm done. This is over. I mean, communicate along the way, like give them the opportunity to course correct. If, they're displaying a behavior or they're not doing something that you really need, communicate to them. And again, be specific. Tell them exactly, what you need from them. Whether it's, I need you to be home more and not out with your friends. And being home more means every weekend we spend time together, or or no more nights over at your friend's house, or whatever the case may be. Like, just communicate, be specific. And if they're not living up to your standards or providing you what you need, then cut the cord, and let them go. Because at the end of the day, you have one relationship. And if you're at the point where you're like, I'm tired of fighting for this relationship, I'm over it, I'm unhappy, I'm miserable, then, think about what is your next steps, right? And if you're living with a guy, I know that's challenging, but, put a plan in place, for you to cut the cord, in a way that, that you'll be safe and secure. That's going to be very important for that. The other thing is, make sure that you're having fun together, right? So if you're in a relationship, make sure that, you're having fun together. Having fun together is just so important, and it just really keeps the relationship going strong and it keeps it interesting. Don't stick to the same old routines, break the routine sometimes, do something fun, interesting, engaging, plan a surprise, do something fun together. That's really important to really just kind of keep, things going strong, and avoid negativity. There are people that we think are our friends that are not our friends. They are undercover haters. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. And don't overlook those red flags for those friends. And, what I like to do too is, I have a small circle of friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I can count my friends on one hand. I know a lot of people. I have a lot of acquaintances, but when it comes to really true friends, I can count them on one hand. And I tell my daughter all the time, it's not the quantity of friends you have, it's the quality of friends you have. You do not need to have a whole bunch of friends. You just need to have a good quality of friends, people that you can call on and they will be there for you. So if you have people around you that if you don't feel like you can call on, then to me, they're not your friends, especially those that are always negative, giving you negativity, not really cheerleading for you. Those aren't the ones that you really want in your inner circle, because they're going to be the ones that's keeping you from finding your best match and keeping you from your blessings. So those people that you want to kind of keep a little bit at an arm's length, and just keep those friends that are really encouraging and positive in your inner circle. So when you do find that best match, or if you're already in a relationship or in a marriage, you have really positive people around you to help encourage you and cheerlead you on to, continue your relationship and to make it, grow even stronger. So, just making sure that you have the right people in your life and in your inner circle is so important. Nobody wants to be single. I know. I mean, there's women out here who's been single for a long time. It's people that fear being single, is women that are in marriages because they don't want to start over, or they fear, starting over and not finding someone else. What I would say to that is, to be positive and, don't let that stop you. Don't let that keep you in a relationship that you are not happy in. Like I said, I believe there is somebody out here for everybody, and God is not going to bring the right man in your life if you still have somebody else in your life or baggage that you need to clear up. He is not going to put a good man in a bad situation. So, if you are, unhappy and you've done everything you can to, find the, not really find someone, but if you're in a relationship and you've done everything you can to make that relationship strong, you have to cut the cord at some point or make the decision whether you want to cut the cord or not. And if you do, great. But that's when, God will put that right man, that best man, in your life at that time. He's not going to put a good man in a bad situation. So you have to be able to, let the other stuff go in order for that man for God to put that man in your life, is what I would say on that. The other thing is, like I said, there's somebody out there for every single woman. Yes, there's more women, according to statistics, there's more women than men. But, again, that should not stop you from, finding your best match. And, maybe your best match is not in your state. Maybe your best match is not in your city or county. Be open and be flexible to, finding people who are not local to you. And that's where those dating sites and that's where social media is going to come in. Be willing to travel and put yourself out there to meet guys and make them come to you, make them work for it. That's another thing I can tell you when it comes to men is they love the chase. It's almost like, the tiger running after, its prey. Men are the same way. They love the chase, honey. They just really do. And so, making them chase for you and making them work for you is critical. And the same thing if you're in a marriage and relationship, making them work for that marriage and that relationship as well, is instrumental. Because, when men put in the work, they value the results even more. Don't be too easy to give in and to give yourself, because, what you have is your sanctuary. It's like giving your soul to someone else. And so, make them chase for it, make them work for it, because let me tell you, if you do, it will certainly make a big difference. I mean, yes, it certainly makes a big difference. And I think Sierra did it best with Russell Wilson when she made him, wait until they got married to, have sex and do all these other different things. I'm certainly sure he values her even more because of that. And so don't be afraid to, put yourself out there in that way and make, the men, put them on the chase, make them work for it, because again, they will value it a lot more. And, so again, there's no such thing as the perfect match. It's the best match. I believe there is love out there for every single body. Use this advice that I've given you, like I said, toss the list. Think about, what are your deal breakers? Your deal breakers is your deal breakers. Be specific when you're communicating to guys, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship. That's going to be, really important. Making a decision. If you are in a relationship, make a decision. You just have to make a decision. Is it something that you're willing to put up with for the rest of your life or not? And if you say no, then make an exit plan, right? Make an exit plan on how do you cut the cord? How do you cut the cord in that relationship is crucial. Communication is key. Again, having fun together. Showing, maybe planning something for you guys to have fun together, is also important in a relationship, is to have fun, change it up sometimes. Don't stick to the same old routines all the time, because that gets bored. That gets really boring. Holding yourself accountable to your deal breakers. If they are your deal breakers, then, move on, to the next thing. For me, cheating for me is a deal breaker. Cause I feel like if you cheat on me, you're not in love with me. I think there's two types of love. I think there's in love, and I think there's love. Right? For a man to say, I love you. Okay, great. You love me, but are you in love with me? And I feel like if a man cheat on you, then he is not in love with you. He might love you. He might love you because you're the mother of his kids, or he might love you because you're doing certain things that he can't get anywhere else, but he's not in love with you, in my opinion, if he cheats on you. So cheating to me is a deal breaker, because I feel like you're not in love with me. I mean, my kids love me. I have people at my job, my coworkers, my sisters, love me, but, in love with me, that's a whole different thing. And so, I feel like if you're not in love with me, then why am I wasting my time? Right. And if a man is in love with you, trust me, you will know he is in love with you, because he will put you first, and he will put the work in to make it work. If you're in a relationship and you tell him you're not happy, he will think of ways and put the work in to make you happy. If you tell him, I need you to be more romantic by, take me out on a Friday date night this weekend, he will make sure he take you out that Friday on a date night and make sure that you have a good time. Again, it goes to communicating, but again, it goes to, is he in love with you, or does he just love you? And if he just love you, sis, do not waste your time. And this is for those who are, in a relationship or not. If you marry, I think it's a little different. I can't speak for marriage because I'm not married. I never wanted to be married, because I feel like, and this is my opinion, I just feel like if you married, men tend to feel like they don't have to really work at it anymore. People just get complacent. And, I want my man to always be working for me. So I'm not married. I don't want to be married. I don't plan to be married. I did at one point, but I spoke to a really great friend of mine. I won't say she's a friend, she's a coworker. And she told me, she was like, listen, I've been married before. I would never be married again, because I felt like when I was in my marriage, he didn't want to work for it anymore. He just got complacent. I got complacent. And it just really gave me a different perspective on marriage. And it just made a lot of sense. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. So after that, I didn't want to be married. I don't want to be married. But if you are, great. But again, it's important for the guy that you're with to be in love with you and not just love you. And listen, some people are big on forgiveness, and I think forgiveness is great. But again, if it's your deal breaker, then it's your deal breaker. To me, is no forgiveness for a deal breaker. So when I say deal breakers, I'm talking about like really things that you're like, absolutely not. I cannot be with somebody if they display these types of behaviors, or if they have this type of background. So that is deal breakers. That's what when I say deal breakers, I mean like things like that. And then, again, if you go ask a guy, are you in love with me? Yes, they're going to say, I'm in love with you. So again, it comes down to actions. Action speaks louder than words. And you'll know by actions if they're truly in love with you or not. And again, cheating is a deal breaker for me. So kudos to those women who've been cheated on and who've made it work. But again, everybody has different deal breakers, and that's just was a deal breaker for me. So, I encourage you to get out there, find your best match. I believe everybody needs somebody. I mean, I've heard women say, I'm okay being by myself. I mean, I guess I can't really speak for that, because I don't think I could ever be okay being by myself unless I absolutely have to. I mean, I would rather be by myself than be in a bad relationship any day. And I'd rather be by myself than be coming home to somebody who is, destroying my sanctuary, destroying my life. I'd rather be by myself if it was that, case. But if I can find somebody that can be my life partner, then that's great. And, you'll hear me say life partner because, if you're not married, but you're in a long-term relationship and you feel like that is the person that you're going to be with for the rest of your life and you don't want to be married, I'll call him my life partner. And when doctors or people asking me, who is my next of kin, and they ask me who he is, I say he is my life partner. So I tell everybody he's my life partner. But if you're married, it's your husband, kudos to you. I think marriage is beautiful. It's just not for me. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's important for, everybody to have somebody. And, like I say, there are some women who say they're okay with it, but, I hear these stories of people in nursing homes and different places and they don't have any family members or visitors. I hear women who, and those women who are widows, my heart just goes out to them because, it's really hard to kind of move on, when you lost someone like that, but I mean, again, I've never been married, but I would encourage, women to move on and to find, someone else to kind of, give them that love as well. And when it comes to death, I look at death happening not when the person leaves, this world. To me, it's when the person's forgotten. When you stop talking about that person or stop sharing stories about that person, to me, that's when somebody dies. They don't die when they body leave the earth. So, even in that sense, like, I don't think any man who left here, who was your husband and you're a widow, I mean, I don't see them wanting you to be single for the rest of your life. I mean, I would think that's a little selfish. So, I mean, that's my opinion. So please don't kill me for that. But, I would just encourage you to find someone. And if you don't want to find someone, that's fine. But if you don't have a friend, find a girlfriend or get into like a book club or something and keep you busy and keep you occupied and keep you happy, because maybe you can find the happiness in other ways. But I encourage, all women to find their best match, because I do think it just gives you a life fulfilled, and makes you even more happier when you have somebody that you can share those experiences with, and I'll say this before I go, I love traveling and I love, seeing, women, strong women, all sorts of women go out and travel. And I've seen a lot of women who solo travel and the pictures are so beautiful and I wish I was there. But this is one girl woman and I can't remember her name. And she was just really keen. And she was like, listen, I know you guys, watch me travel and see all these beautiful places I go, but I can tell you solo traveling is lonely. I'm out here, I be out here in these places that are just amazing. And I have nobody to share these experiences with. And that really gave me a different perspective, just having somebody, because again, you want somebody that you can share, life experiences with, grow with, and all that. And, again, going back to the financial thing, it may be difficult finding a guy who's $1 million or who's a millionaire or making 6 figures a year. But there's a lot of hardworking men out there with the potential to be that, as long as they have a strong woman like yourself backing them and supporting them. So get out there, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid, and make it happen. And I wish all of you guys the best. Thank you so much for following me. I hope this was helpful. I hope I didn't insult anybody. This was just my opinion, my feedback on, dating, life, finding the best match. Wish all of you well. Stay healthy, stay blessed. Thank you so much for following The Bum Maker.